from 24 Hour News 8.
2 dead when a milk hauler and car collide. We're at the scene with how it happened.
A new bridge between Detroit and Canada. We're live in Motown for the big announcement.
And a Target 8 update. A West Michigan woman won't be forced back to China, where she could have faced death.
Plus, a sweltering weekend forecast. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marley Genter.
And I'm Susan Shaw. This is 24 Hour News 8 at 5.
This is a breaking news alert from 24 Hour News 8.
Straight off the top tonight, we start with breaking news, a water rescue at the lakeshore. It's happening south of Grand Haven near the Christian Reformed Conference grounds. 24 Hour News 8 Steve Kelso was first on the scene and joins us now. Steve, what can you tell us is happening?
Hey, good afternoon, Marley. Right now I can tell you that a 13-year-old boy from Grand Rapids is fighting for his life. He was recently transported from here by ambulance, unresponsive. Lieutenant Lee Hoaxman with the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department tells me that their department received a call of someone missing in the water. Beachgoers had formed a human chain and attempted to locate the young man. However, they were unsuccessful in that. Ottawa County Sheriff's Department responded with their dive team, and they were able to locate him and bring him on the shore. The boy's father was actually watching his son swim. He said he saw him struggle and then saw a wave come along and take him under, and that's the last they saw of him. The Sheriff's Department dive team got him up on the beach. They were able to perform some CPR and got him in the ambulance, but right now he is unresponsive. The lieutenant also tells me that the boy was attending a year-end soccer party at a private home somewhere up the beach. Back to you.
Steve, thank you. Now to a deadly and devastating wreck northwest of Kalamazoo between a semi-truck hauling milk and a car. It happened at D Avenue and 2nd Street just around noon today. 24 Hour News 8's Leon Hendricks was at the scene and has this report.
Police tell us it was just before noon today that a van was heading north here on 2nd Street and a truck was heading east. But for some reason, the driver of that van apparently stopped at this stop sign and then kept going into the path of the semi-truck that had the right-of-way. Both of the drivers died at the scene, so investigators may never know what happened. They say it was a difficult scene to arrive on.
When we come across a scene like this and there's nothing you can do for anyone, it is disheartening, and it's something we take away from these types of incidents, and we use when we try to teach people the importance of making sure that we're paying attention to the roads or driving appropriately.
It's important to note that that's what police think happened, that she stopped here before rolling through the intersection, but they're really not sure. That's why they're still investigating, and they're asking anyone who may have witnessed the crash to come forward. Reporting in Kalamazoo County, Leon Hendricks, 24 Hour News 8.
Well, the plan is official. Governor Snyder was joined by the Prime Minister of Canada to announce plans to build a new bridge linking Detroit and Windsor, Ontario. It's a plan that's generated a lot of controversy. 24 Hour News 8 political reporter Rick Albin was there for the governor's announcement today. He joins us live from Detroit with more on the deal. Rick?
Well, if this deal has created a lot of controversy up to now, it created a lot of excitement today. It started right over there in that Hilton Hotel where they made the big announcement at about 12:45. That led to both the Prime Minister and the Governor coming back here to the United States, here in Detroit, for this signing ceremony that made it official. What it makes official is that the Canadian government will pay for the infrastructure surrounding a new bridge that will go downriver about 2.5 miles from here. That bridge will be funded, as I said, by the Canadian, not by the Michigan taxpayer, by the Canadian taxpayer, and it will also be built by a private individual. So all the infrastructure leading up to the bridge will be paid for by Canada, the span itself by that private operator. Governor Snyder talked about that today in making the announcement.
We have a problem, and it's a problem none of us would ever trade for anything in the world. It's a problem we all love and celebrate every day. If you're in Ontario or Canada or Michigan, it's something called the Great Lakes. And you have these Great Lakes in the middle of this 1/3 of the North American economy. So the only way you trade is if you create crossings. And so crossings are critically important to make this work.
How critically important? One of the ministry members from Canada said this was not only the most important infrastructure project in Canada, but he said he thought it was the most important in North America. not everybody's happy. If you look just downriver, there is the Ambassador Bridge, the only span in Detroit right now. That's privately owned by the Maroon family. They have fought this plan tooth and nail up to now, and there's no indication that they may be giving up. There are chances that there could be legal activity, and there are other questions surrounding this project too. The Speaker of the House, Jace Bolger, today released a statement saying that as long as the governor didn't appropriate any funds, he certainly has the right to enter into such agreement. But remember, the governor can't appropriate funds. And again, he says no taxpayer money from Michigan will be used in this. But if there comes a time that there is some need for that money, that could be a point of contention as well. As we say, what will the owners of the Ambassador Bridge do? We don't know, but we'll continue to follow this story on what is a historic day, particularly if this bridge project goes through. Coming up later, we'll talk live with Governor Snyder about his take. Live in Detroit, I'm Rick Albin, 24-Hour News 8.
Rick, thank you. It looks like it's shaping up to be a beautiful but hot weekend, and those temperatures are sticking around into next week. Chief Meteorologist Bill Steffen is in the 24-Hour Tracking Center tonight with more on that and our chances for rain, Bill.
Yes, and we certainly need rain around here. The last measurable rain was on June 2nd. We had a couple of dry weeks here in most areas. We're at 90 now in downtown Kalamazoo. Here at Wood TV 8, 88 degrees. It's hot out there, but cooler at the lake. 90 Kalamazoo, only 78 on the beach at Muskegon, and I've been saying if you want a place to cool off the next couple of days, that lakeshore area, especially from Muskegon north, would be a good place to be. Live picture from Boatworks over in Howland. We've been watching the boats go back and forth, enjoying this beautiful day. Just light winds over there. And on Lake Michigan, they report waves only running about 6 inches or so. And here's the way it looks on Storm Track Live. Nothing but some showers up across the UP. Those are moving east away from us. We will stay dry here tonight and most all of the day tomorrow. Here's the way it looks if we're going out this evening. 86 degrees at 7 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, we're at 81. 11 o'clock, 74. We have to wait till after midnight before the temperature falls barely below 70 degrees. So leave the coat at home, leave the umbrella at home, go out and enjoy this beautiful evening. Coming up, we'll talk about our chances for rain, especially Saturday night, and how hot it's going to get here next week.
Bill, thank you. She'd been ordered deported to China despite being smuggled here for the sex trade and despite excelling in school. But now, after a Target 8 investigation, it appears Kayla Roberts will be allowed to stay in the U.S. Target 8 investigator Ken Kolker is here with an update. Ken.
Marley, it's the news she's been waiting to hear for 10 years, since she was smuggled here as a teenager.
It means the answer to a full, long 10 years of waiting and fighting. It means I can drive, I can work, I can pay taxes.
Her last hope.
Target 8 told Kayla's story last month. A then 14-year-old girl smuggled by so-called snakeheads into the U.S., only to be arrested in San Diego before they could get her into that sex trade. That eventually led her to a foster family in Grand Haven, near perfect grades at Grand Haven High School and at Western Michigan University. But immigration officials ordered her deported because she was here illegally. And the only way she could eventually become a U.S. citizen, they said, was to first return to China. And that's where she feared the smugglers were waiting for her. Today, her attorney told Target 8 that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Detroit had a change of heart. They will allow her to apply for a special visa for smuggled immigrants, and they will support her application. They had previously denied that request.
It means a huge relief. It means I don't have to go through the jail system in China, the education classes. I don't have to face the danger of facing my biological dad and the smugglers. I don't have to face about what am I going to do in a foreign land.
Now, we haven't been able to reach ICE officials in Detroit, but Kayla's attorney says this means she could get a green card in 3 years and apply for citizenship 5 years after that.
Ken, thank you. This development is separate from a significant policy shift on immigration announced today by President Obama. Under the new policy, President Obama says younger immigrants will not be deported if they meet certain standards. They are if they arrived in this country before the age of 16, are younger than 30, have been in the country for at least 5 continuous years, have no criminal history, and graduated from a U.S. high school or earned a GED or served in the military.
Let's be clear, this is not amnesty, this is not immunity. This is not a path to citizenship. It's not a permanent fix. This is a temporary stopgap measure that lets us focus our resources wisely while giving a degree of relief and hope to talented, driven, patriotic young people. It is the right thing to do.
We will have more on this announcement and how it could help President Obama in the upcoming election. That's at about 5:40. We have a breaking traffic alert to pass along to you right now. Northbound Sprinkle Road at Meredith is down to 1 lane due to a crash involving several cars. We are told it may take 3 to 5 hours to clear up. Please avoid that area if at all possible.
The father of several standout athletes from East Grand Rapids is heading to federal prison. Kevin Grady Sr. was sentenced today to 14 years behind bars and has to pay more than $3 million in restitution after being convicted of fraud and conspiracy. Prosecutors say Grady ripped off several mortgage companies. Grady was one of 5 people charged in the con. 3 others took plea deals. Investigators say a house fire in southeast Grand Rapids was started by a kid playing with matches. The fire broke out late this morning on Cromwell. Investigators say a mattress caught fire in the downstairs apartment and the fire spread to the rest of the home. 6 people in all got out safely. The house is badly damaged, but fire investigators have not said how much it might cost to repair.
There is a bittersweet update today on the Portage man who died on Mount Fuji in Japan. Matt Johnson's sister posted this picture on the Please Pray for Matt Johnson Facebook page. She says the family was able to find Matt's camera and found this photo that he snapped of himself on the summit of the mountain. They say they are happy to know that he accomplished his goal before he died. Johnson went missing in January. His body was found June 8th.
A 16-year-old driver charged after driving into a Hudsonville fountain and hitting a bystander. But why she may not be punished? Find out coming up, 5:30.
The Waterfront Film Festival is happening now in Saugatuck. We'll take you on a tour and tell you the secret to getting good parking.
Driving conditions are good. Main arteries filled up with homebounders, and northbound 131 has been running heavy all afternoon. A lot of people heading up to northern Michigan for a nice weekend. And this is the view from 28th Street, northbound side coming in from the left. It's just a parking lot. Looks like it's backing up to about 36th Street right now. There was a fender bender near Burton that is out of the way. Further up, once you get out, you clog up again when you get to the 96 interchange. And don't forget, you have a 1-lane squeeze both ways on 131 just north of Dorr and in Montcalm County starting at Pearson. There's a crash going in Muskegon right now, southbound 31, approaching the 96 Seaway Drive junction. Driver put it right before the Airline Road overpass and was backed up to Sherman Boulevard. Car tangled up in the cable median barriers and blocked the southbound left lane. MDOT's Metro Grand Rapids traffic camera on the north side watching a pretty good flow right now. Just about 5 minutes ago, northbound was stop and go from just past the Ann Street overpass. Now it looks like you're getting past Ann Street okay, but it clogs up again once you're in the 96 interchange. For 24-hour News 8, Kevin Richards, News Radio, Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Watching out for you, this is Storm Team 8.
We'll start out with a live picture from Saugatuck where the Waterfront Film Festival is going on. You can see the water fairly calm. Boats going on by. Should be a great Saturday if you're going to be along the lakeshore. No rain in our area at the current time. There have been a couple showers across the UP, but that's all moving away from us. We will stay dry here tonight and during most all of the day tomorrow. Down in the southwest corner of the state, there'll be a chance of a shower or thunder shower sneaking in late in the day tomorrow, but a better chance for rain comes Saturday night. So here's the way it looks for this evening if you're going to be out and about. I think our temperatures here will only fall to about 74 by 11 o'clock midnight. Winds fairly light. Skies should be mostly clear. A beautiful romantic evening to be out there. Clean Air Action Day coming up tomorrow. Covers all of these counties. That's Cass, Kent County, and the Lakeshore counties. And what this means is it's a good time to minimize your use of gasoline engines. This also means free rides on fixed routes for the Macatawa Area Express in the Holland-Zealand area and the Rapid here in Grand Rapids. These current temperatures, we're cooking 90 Kalamazoo, 89 Grand Rapids and Ionia. Once again, temperatures are cooler at the lake, and that'll be the case again tomorrow. So if you don't like the heat, head especially to this area from Muskegon County up to the point at Oceana County where the south wind comes across more lake water. You'll find cooler temperatures there. Winds inland areas are out of the southeast. They'll be more southerly here for the day tomorrow. Here's what we're tracking again. Southwest corner of the state, a chance of a thunder shower late Saturday. It probably does not get up to Grand Rapids until around or after sunset, but there is a good chance we'll see some rain for Saturday night. And boy, that is going to be most welcome here That should clear out, give us a nice Sunday afternoon. Heat wave coming our way here next week. So during the day tomorrow, it looks like this. I think there'll be a little bit more cloud cover around late in the day than there will be early. 91 the high in Grand Rapids with a south wind. Even at the lakeshore, temperatures are going to be warm, peaking out in the mid-80s before the winds turn more southwest off the lake during the afternoon. And Kalamazoo and Battle Creek, you'll see temperatures approaching 90 during the afternoon. A little bit more cloud cover coming in during the mid to late afternoon. Slight chance of a shower, thunder shower, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek by late in the day. Here's the way it looks at Lake Michigan. Water temperatures still pretty chilly out there, mostly in the 50s. Waves tomorrow calm in the morning, up to about a foot or so during the afternoon. 8-day forecast looks like this. 91 tomorrow, 40% chance of a shower, thunder shower in the evening. Best chance for rain about 80% here for Saturday night. Chance of a shower about 50% for Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon looks dry. Isolated shower, thunder shower possible Monday in the morning, mainly north of Grand Rapids. Then dry and really hot here for the midweek Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
All right, Phil, thank you. Thousands are flocking to Saugatuck for the Waterfront Film Festival.
We are taking you there for an inside look, plus tips so you don't miss anything.
And an investigation uncovers what went wrong when a crane collapsed at the Kent County Jail. Why a subcontractor is facing some hefty fines.
Saving the city money. There's a new plan from a Grand Rapids official, but who suggested the move may surprise you.
This week on To The Point. Even as we found ourselves in Detroit chasing the story about a new bridge, the other story out of Lansing was the fact that the legislature is wrapping up their session, at least for the spring, and will head home for most of the summer. It was a contentious week, and we talked to both sides.
There's been a lot just passed very quickly, as you know. I mean, some of these pieces of legislation didn't get an opportunity to have a true vetting, whether it's a supplemental or certainly MIPSers. MIPSers came up. You saw the number of amendments that were offered at the last minute to try to make it more palatable for some folks, but obviously for us, it's still horrible legislation. And there's a number of other things, whether it's abortion, all very, very much fast-tracked without a heck of a lot of discussion.
Session isn't over. We'll be back in September. We'll be back in November. And there's still a lot of areas that we want to address. There's a lot of things that I want to address personally that affects my district as well. So big picture, I think we got 90% of it done.
So exactly what did the legislature get done in this final week before many of the members head out for constituent service? And of course, there is that campaigning for re-election. We'll examine some of what happened in Lansing this Sunday morning at 10 o'clock on Wood TV 8, To The Point.
Well, there's a lot going on in West Michigan this weekend, much of it along the lakeshore. Take a look at this. It's a giant slip and slide that will be out tomorrow from noon until 5 at the Soccer Bowl at Rosewood Park in Georgetown Township. It looks like a lot of fun. And you can get a wristband for unlimited use for just $1. All the money raised will go to Kids Hope USA, a program to help mentor at-risk kids in and around our community. In South Haven, HarborFest 2012 is already underway. If you go, you can check out boat shows, food, and live music. Tonight, you can listen to DB and the Dinos, Function, and Root Doctor at Riverfront Park. There's also a vessel salute and boat parade at 6. The festival runs through Sunday. And tomorrow is Reptile Day at the John Paul Zoo in Grand Rapids. You can see more than 100 reptiles and amphibians. It's free to get into the exhibit with your paid admission into the zoo. Reptile Day runs from 10 o'clock until 5 tomorrow.
The 14th Annual Waterfront Film Festival is in full swing in Saugatuck, too. Thousands make their way to the festival every year, including Wood TV movie blogger Aaron Lafferty. And today he's giving us a walking preview of this year's festival venues, plus some tips for waterfront rookies.
Over at Saugatuck High School, where all the movies start, there will be 2 venues inside the high school where movies will be playing at the same time. You can catch a bunch of movies there, making their Midwest and Michigan premieres. Some of those movies include Wuss.
Yo, Mr. Parker.
Jamal.
I've been waiting on you.
Look, little man, if you're trying to intimidate me...
Give me your showstopper.
How do you write a Joe Sherman song? Scaling.
Just stop that! Can't you see I'm trying to help you?
Green, Without, and the documentary Queen of Versailles.
We never sought out to build the biggest house in America. It's like kind of happened.
Parking will be at a premium during Waterfront Film Festival, so whether you're trying to park on the street or at a venue, one good idea is to park at Saugatuck High School and catch the shuttle, which will come right here and pick you up. Then you can head on to your next venue. Another tip for you, it's going to be hot, have water and a good pair of walking shoes. The biggest venue at Waterfront Film Festival, Saugatuck Yacht Services. It's on Holland Street next to the Elbow Room. Inside that boat shed, you'll see a bunch of movies, including Virginia making its Midwest premiere. Of course, Virginia was filmed in West Michigan.
I'm gonna make us peas and carrots tonight, from scratch.
It also includes several movies selected to other high-profile festivals like 5-time champion.
I don't know what has gotten into him.
Supporting characters, Below Zero, and the documentaries Wild Horse, Wild Ride, and Holy Rollers, the true story of card-counting Christians. Another tip for you, not all tickets will guarantee you a seat. Make sure you arrive at least 15 minutes prior to the start time to make sure you get a seat to the movie, because they will sell out. Also remember, the best part of the experience here at Waterfront Film Festival isn't just watching the movie, it's also getting to talk to the people involved in the movie. So after the movie, you'll get to talk to filmmakers, cast, depends on the movie. Sometimes there will be directors, sometimes there will be cast, sometimes you'll see both. In Saugatuck, Aaron Lafferty, 24-Hour News 8.
Looks like fun. 3 movies are also playing at the Dunes Resort on Blue Star Highway. For more on this year's Waterfront Film Festival, check out Aaron's Laugh at the Movies blog on woodtv.com as well as Facebook.
Well, it started out as a quick lesson to learn how to drive, but it ended like this. What lies ahead for the teenager behind the wheel?
Developments tonight regarding the crane collapse that caused injuries and damage at the Kent County Jail. Fines are being handed down now.
Boy, it's quite a contrast looking at that snow in that picture and then taking a look at the forecast over the next 5 days. Look at these temperatures. We're going to top 90 tomorrow, a little cooler on Sunday, especially near the lake, but back up to 90 on Monday and into the low to mid 90s here for Tuesday and Wednesday. Coming up, we'll take a look at your Storm Team 8 weekend forecast.
Watching out for you, this is Storm Team 8.
Well, a warm evening ahead here in West Michigan. Temperature right now at 87 at Calvin College, that's southeast side of Grand Rapids, and 89 at Hudsonville City Hall. Cooler at the beach, though, right on the beach at Grand Haven. That's Bill Mars, 78 degrees, the current temperature. Let's take a look right now at a live picture from Jenison, looking out across the football field there into the distance. Nothing more than just a couple of high clouds floating on by, and we should have a mostly clear evening. If you're going to be heading out, temperatures stay warm. I think by 11 o'clock midnight, we're still up above 70 degrees. Winds light out of the southeast at around 5 miles an hour. Here's the way it looks for the weekend. On Saturday, partly cloudy skies and hot, 91 degrees inland. It'll be a little bit cooler than that at the lakeshore, especially if you're north of Grand Haven. 40% chance a shower, thunder shower could sneak in here late, but most all of the day should be dry. Best bet for rain comes Saturday night. There is a chance a shower, thunder shower could sneak in here for Sunday morning yet, but most of those should be gone by around 10, 11 o'clock. And Father's Day afternoon looks like it'll be dry and slightly cooler with a high of 84. Coming up, we'll talk more about the heat wave coming next week.
Thank you, Bill. Charges were filed today against the 16-year-old driver of a truck that ended up in a Hudsonville fountain and seriously injured a West Michigan man. But the case of this strange crash took an even stranger twist in court this afternoon. 24-Hour News 8's Henry Erb is here with that story. Henry?
Well, the victim in this case is a West Michigan defense attorney, and we learned today that the young suspect will be allowed to leave the country with the hope that she returns to face charges. 34-year-old Jason Ronning is in serious condition tonight at Spectrum Hospital after he was hit by the truck. He is a partner at the Avanti Law Group. The crash happened last night in Hudsonville. We are told a 16-year-old German exchange student just days away from returning home was behind the wheel of this truck. An 18-year-old was teaching her to drive. He was on the wheel. She was working the pedals. Investigators say she hit the gas instead of the brake, ramming Ronning, who was sitting on a park bench, and slamming into the fountain. Ronning was trapped under the truck, and he's still in the hospital. Today, the German teen appeared in juvenile court, charged with driving without a license and reckless driving, both misdemeanors, and driving without a license causing serious injury, a felony. The court released her without posting any money for bond, and she will be allowed to return to Germany on Monday. We spoke with court officials who admit that if she doesn't come back here for her next court date, there isn't much they can do. They're just hoping that she honors her word and comes back to the U.S. to face the charges.
Henry, thank you. If you are just joining us, here's a look at our top stories now from 5 o'clock. A Grand Rapids boy is being treated right now after he was rescued from Lake Michigan near Grand Haven. The 13-year-old was underwater for about 30 minutes.
2 people are dead after a minivan collided with a semi-truck hauling milk. This happened late this morning at a rural intersection in Kalamazoo County's Alamo Township. The victims were the drivers in those vehicles. No one else was involved. U.S.
and Canadian leaders announced today that a second international bridge will span the Detroit River at no cost in Michigan. They say the project will create thousands of jobs and stimulate trade between the nations. The cost to build the Michigan's half of the bridge would be repaid through tolls collected on the Canadian side.
Well, that frightening crane collapse at the Kent County Jail led to some major fines for the subcontractor in charge of that crane. No one was injured when the crane fell apart back on February 10th. 24-hour News 8's Joe LaFergie is in studio control with more on the state's report. Joe.
Yeah, Marley, 9 different violations will cost G2 Incorporated, the Cedar Springs-based company subcontracted to haul buckets of concrete to the higher levels of the project, over $28,000. All of the violations were deemed serious by state inspectors. Investigators say the operator of the crane had never ran that particular model on the day of the mishap. The report says the operator moved both of the crane's 2 sections at the same time. That stressed out the cables, and it caused the main boom to break apart and fall backwards onto itself. And the collapse injured a worker and 2 jail trustees. None of them very serious. It also caused significant damage to the new addition to the jail. The report says G2 is well aware of their responsibility to protect their workers. G2 has been inspected 11 times in the past 8 years and has been issued 19 serious violations. G2 is not commenting on the citations. The company has 15 days to either comply or contest the order. Coming up at 6, we will update you on that renovation project. In studio control, Joe LaFergie, 24-hour News 8.
Thanks, Joe. This Wisconsin man, Clinton Lovelace, will stand trial for at least one of 2 deaths of West Michigan motorcyclists. He was bound over to trial today after 3 police officers testified in the case. A reporter from our sister station in Green Bay says Lovelace appeared in court in a wheelchair. He is accused of hitting 12 bikers from the Muskegon motorcycle gang. 2 of them died. Several others were badly hurt. Dan Winsemius and Doug Yonkers were killed. Winsemius died at the scene. Yonkers died several days later at the hospital. The suspect in the cemetery murder story is now charged, but not for the killing. Jail records indicate Christina Miller was charged on 2 counts today of obstructing police. However, she was not charged in the homicide for which police say she is behind bars. She's suspected of killing 67-year-old Robert Shields. Investigators say he was stabbed to death. His body was found in Oak Hill Cemetery on Grand Rapids' southeast side. We have no word on when she'll be charged with that. We have learned Miller had 3 personal protection orders taken out against her in the past. They include one from her ex-husband. In some cases, the petitioners say she threatened to kill them. She was also previously charged with home invasion several years ago.
Fire investigators in 2 different cities are investigating separate fires they say were set on purpose. The first one happened just after midnight on Jefferson in southeast Grand Rapids. When crews got there, the 2-story house was fully involved. Investigators say the home is a total loss. They say the people who were renting the home had recently moved out. About 5 hours later, firefighters in Kalamazoo were called to a house fire on Wallbridge. Flames were coming from the house when they got there. It was so bad, firefighters couldn't get inside because the building wasn't safe. Investigators say the fire appears to be arson, but they don't know yet who started it.
A hearing to decide whether a man accused of murdering a Walker woman will go to trial. Carl Cotton was in court today for the first part of his preliminary hearing. He's accused of killing Jamie Powell at her apartment at the Old Orchard complex in March of 2011. Several witnesses were called to the stand today. One of them described seeing a man who he thought jumped out of the window of Powell's apartment. He later describes hearing what he thought were gunshots.
I heard noises, loud banging noise that definitely got my attention.
Can you describe that noise?
Well, I think it sounded like gunshots.
Cotton is already serving a prison sentence for perjury. He lied under oath when police were investigating the murder. The preliminary hearing will continue at a later date. Nothing has been scheduled as of yet.
We now know the identities of 2 alleged bank robbers caught after they jumped into a Kalamazoo County lake. It happened this past Monday at the Fifth Third Bank on Portage Road in Portage. Police say 2 men wearing masks and carrying guns robbed the bank. Police say the men took off into West Lake to try and avoid being caught, but police did catch up with them. We now know that 30-year-old Adam Eli and 25-year-old Evan Eli were the ones arrested. They're now charged with bank robbery, felonious assault, and possession of a firearm during a felony.
The biological mother of Ricky Holland, the boy whose murder made national news, is seeking custody of her 6th child. The Lansing State Journal reports Casey Caswell plans to go to court on July 24th for a hearing to determine parental rights to the 3-month-old. The baby was taken from Caswell and her husband at birth. The newspaper reports her 5 other children, including Ricky, were removed from her custody years ago. Caswell tried in 2006 to get custody of her 5th child, a baby girl. The kids were all taken by the state because her husband is a convicted sex offender. Ricky Holland disappeared in July of 2004. His body was found several months later. His adoptive parents, Lisa and Tim Holland, are serving prison terms for Ricky's death.
President Obama announces a major policy change to immigration.
How the move could mean more Latino support for Democrats.
And it's a transition that could make operations in Grand Rapids City Hall more efficient. We'll tell you what's in the works.
Driving conditions for the trip home or the trip out, really good, but we've had a lot of problems all afternoon. The 131 work zone, well, that's a problem all the time. From shooting from Hall Street looking south, really heavy on a Friday afternoon, so northbound 131 is backed up all the way into Wyoming. Opens up a little bit the S-curve, then it bogs down again before you get to 96. There's a crash going on the freeway in Byron Township, westbound M6 approaching Wilson Avenue. Emergency units trying to get to the scene had a lot of problem because of the volume, and it backed up at one point all the way to Byron Center Avenue, the next exit. Up at the north end of town, looking at 131 from Comstock Park, West River Drive. Here you are trying to get out of the metropolitan area. This is not the baseball backup. This is 2 lanes of very slow traffic all the way up to Belmont right now. It opens up a little bit, but it stays heavy. Don't forget you have a 1-lane squeeze up at Pearson, too. And just a warning for this weekend, 131 work zone in Grand Rapids. 1-lane squeeze both ways starting tonight for the weekend. For 24-hour News 8, Kevin Richards, News Radio, Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
And welcome back. Here's a look at how the stock market closed today. The Dow Jones up 115.26 points. The NASDAQ up 36.47, and the S&P 500 up almost 14 points. Crude oil closing at $84.02 a barrel. The government is revealing details of serious allegations dating back to 2004 against Secret Service agents and officers. The list was released today to the Associated Press under the Freedom of Information Act following the Secret Service prostitution scandal in Colombia. The report includes claims of involvement with prostitutes, leaking sensitive information, publishing pornography, sexual assault, illegal wiretaps, and drunken behavior. It's not immediately clear how many of the accusations were confirmed to be true.
In a surprise move today that seems sure to affect the race for the White House, President Obama ordered a major change in immigration enforcement. Young people brought to the U.S. as kids by their parents can stay and can work. Critics call it blatant political pandering. Steve Handelsman has more on the announcement and the fallout.
Barack Obama has deported more illegal immigrants than any other president. But today, he ended that for one group.
It makes no sense to expel talented young people who, for all intents and purposes, are Americans.
They celebrated in Los Angeles that 800,000 illegal immigrants will not be deported and can get work permits if they're under 30 and law-abiding graduates or military.
This is a temporary stopgap measure that lets us focus our resources wisely while giving a degree of relief and hope to talented, driven, patriotic young people. It is the right thing to do.
Erica Andiola is 24. She came illegally from Mexico at age 11, graduated Arizona State, but feared deportation until today.
It's just such a relief that we're given this opportunity. We see it as giving back because a lot of us have our engineering degrees, our psychology degrees. You know, my boyfriend's a lawyer and he's undocumented. You know, he's gonna be able to, you know, use that.
Critics charge the Obama move is bad for American workers and principals.
It's fundamentally unfair to those who've come here legally. It simply rewards the illegal behavior, and it encourages future flows of illegal aliens.
President Obama wants his reward from Latino voters. Mitt Romney needs those votes too.
The president's action makes reaching a long-term solution more difficult. If I'm president, we'll do our very best to have that kind of long-term solution that provides certainty and clarity.
But the current president just made life a lot easier for nearly 1 million non-citizens in America. President Obama tried to make clear here today his plan does not offer to illegal residents American citizenship. At the White House, I'm Steve Handelsman, 24-Hour News 8.
We're learning today the Lawrence High class president killed in a crash on what would have been his graduation day was driving drunk. Police say 18-year-old James Reeder was more than twice the legal limit to drive and had marijuana in his system when his pickup truck crossed the center line and slammed into a tanker truck in Indiana on June 3rd. Police say the driver of the tanker had no alcohol in his system. We reported earlier that Reeder had been charged with drunk driving just weeks before the crash that killed him.
Well, we certainly had a warm day here in West Michigan. Temperatures were knocking on the door in 90 degrees here in Grand Rapids. So far peaking at 89, Kalamazoo making 90. Warm spot was the regional airport. Lots of asphalt and concrete helping to boost the temperature there at 93, while beach temperatures held in the 70s. Coming up, we'll talk about even warmer weather coming our way next week.
Watching out for you, this is Storm Team 8.
A live picture from Jenison. This is Wildcat Country, and what's interesting is the football field actually looks greener than the field out here, which could use a little bit of water. It certainly has been dry, but we will stay dry here this evening. A couple of showers scooting by Sault Ste. Marie. Lower Peninsula is dry, and we should stay that way until at least tomorrow evening. If you're heading out during the evening hours, we're pretty warm here early at 86 degrees at 7 o'clock. By 11, we're down to 74. Wind should be pretty light this evening, and boy, the sun doesn't set now until almost 9:30, and you can see twilight till about 10:45 in the evening. Another clean air action day coming up for tomorrow. It covers the Lakeshore counties plus Cass County and also Kent County. So again, minimize your use of gasoline engines if you can. We're going to see 3 or 4 more of these during the day or during next week as the hot air sticks around. Currently, we are at 90 at Kalamazoo. We've got 89 now in Grand Rapids. Temperatures along the lake are a little bit cooler. That number on the left here, when we have a combination like this, represents the beach temperature, and the beach temperature there at Howland, for instance, is at 76. Winds out of the southeast, and some lakeshore areas the winds are southwest and coming in off the water. Here's what we're tracking. First of all, dry weather for tonight. There is a chance of a shower or thunder shower very late Saturday. Best bet for that to be down in the southwest corner of the state. Better chance for rain comes Saturday night. Most of us are going to see some much needed rain Saturday night into early Sunday. And a heat wave shaping up here for next week with 3 days in a row at 90 degrees or hotter. This evening, skies are mostly clear across the area. They'll stay that way this evening. By midnight, the temperature is only down to around 74 in Grand Rapids, so a warm night ahead here for us. I think late tonight temperatures bottom out here in the mid to upper 60s. We'll be seeing temperatures increase a bit here during the day tomorrow, 85 degrees by the noon hour already. And then during the afternoon, we have a chance of a shower, thunder shower sneaking in from the southwest. It really is mainly a better threat over toward the Chicago area during the day. And then for the rest of us, a chance of a shower, thunder shower here for Saturday night. In the meantime, it makes 91 here tomorrow. Winds will be out of the south at 5 to 15 miles an hour. At Lake Michigan, you're going to find temperatures tomorrow much of the day in the upper 70s to low 80s. Water temperatures still pretty cool, as you can see, in the 50s. Waves tomorrow start out fairly calm, should be up to around a foot or so during the afternoon. 8-day forecast, 91 tomorrow. Be a little cooler on Sunday, especially near the lake, probably only be in the 70s here. on Sunday afternoon by Lake Michigan. Best bet for rain comes Saturday night, very early on Sunday. Then it clears out. Sunday afternoon should be dry. Slight chance for shower, thunder shower Monday, maybe north of Grand Rapids, and we're cooking with 94 Tuesday and 93 on Wednesday.
Thank you, Bill. The countdown is on for tonight's high wire act over Niagara Falls. Nick Wallenda will attempt to cross the falls balanced on a 2-inch wire nearly 200 feet in the air. It's something he says he's dreamed about doing since he was a child watching his famous family perform high wire acts. He's a 7th generation daredevil, his performing family dating back to the late 1700s. But no one's ever done what he's about to attempt.
Now, I'm sure there'll be some tears involved because this is a dream, something that no one in the world's ever done.
Wallenda's supporters have forced him to wear a harness, something he's never used before.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
You wouldn't have to force me to use the harness, no.
That was just getting me nervous watching. Well, there's a proposal to streamline operations in one office at City Hall.
And who's suggesting the cost-cutting move may surprise you? That's coming up next.
And a teen pulled from the water unresponsive. We're there as rescuers frantically work to save the boy's life. The full story coming up at 6.
There may be one more empty office at Grand Rapids City Hall next year. The latest cost-cutting streamlining proposal involves merging the city comptroller's duties into the chief financial officer's office.
What may surprise you is the person suggesting the merge is the one who would be out of a job. 24 Hour News 8's Joe LaFergie has more from City Hall.
Well, here's something you don't hear of every day coming out of City Hall or any other place for that matter. Someone trying to write themselves out of their job.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners.
Donnie Jo DeYoung, who faced scrutiny from Grand Rapids City Commissioners when she sought appointment to the comptroller position, and scrutiny from voters when she ran for the office, now wants to get rid of the office. Well, get rid of the office isn't exactly accurate.
Really, it's modernizing the city's financial structure.
Economic evaluation.
DeYoung is proposing that the comptroller, which audits city spending, processes the payroll, and serves as the city's accountant, should become part of the chief financial officer's office. The move to eliminate the now part-time comptroller's position would save the city DeYoung's salary $53,000 in change right off the bat. More savings could be realized down the road.
The idea of streamlining and finding these efficiencies through better workflow processes, I think will ultimately save money for the taxpayers. How much? I couldn't put a dollar amount on that.
Since the comptroller is elected and the CFO is appointed, the merger would require a change in the city's charter. But it could also take one level of oversight away from voters. DeYoung's not concerned. She says the position was part of the city charter written back in 1916. She believes plenty of safeguards have evolved over the last 96 years to protect taxpayers. DeYoung thinks the change would actually bring in more accountability to City Hall by putting one person in charge of audits.
So now you don't have two people working in silos or two functions, right? You have one accountable person who's really answerable now to the people.
You'll likely get to make the final decision. If the City Commission approves the proposal, it'll probably go on the November ballot. In Grand Rapids, Joe LaFergie, 24 Hour News 8.
Well, here's what's just ahead in a few minutes. A Target 8 success story. A West Michigan woman saved from the sex slave trade won't be forced back to her home country where she faced more danger. What made it happen? Coming up at 6.
And a tragic collision in Kalamazoo County. 2 people killed when a milk hauler slams into a minivan. It's all coming up at 6.